Hi, I'm Andy, and my wife Morgan is videotaping.
Hi.
Say hi. And just wanted to give you some tips on what I've learned in my 6 years of vermicomposting. These are tips that I pretty much picked up just on YouTube. And I started with 2,000 worms back in 2013 or 2014. And now I have 50,000 worms. And on top of that, I bought another 50,000 worms because why not? So I have 100,000 worms, and I'm going to show you my operation, and I'll come back in here and give you some tips on what I've learned to be successful. So there's 50 crates in here, and each crate has about 2,000 worms in it, and these crates are great for stacking. If you want to start this hobby, I would suggest that you start like I did with the Worm Factory 360. It's about 120 bucks. These crates are about 20 bucks each, but if you buy them on Amazon, you can get them used for a lot cheaper. If you want to come over. So a lot of people believe that the worms actually eat produce, but it's not the produce they eat, it's the bacteria that's eating the produce. So you can see here, all these worms, you think they're eating that cantaloupe, but they're eating the bacteria, which it still kind of makes me think it looks like they're eating that cantaloupe. It's not, they're eating the bacteria. So there's tons of worms in all of these crates. One of the things I've learned is if you freeze your food beforehand, the bacteria will colonize the frozen or thawed food quicker because the cells have been ruptured, and it's just easier for the bacteria to then just permeate into the frozen food or thawed food. So I use this 6-foot freezer, which is really full of food that I get from a local grocery store because they just throw it away, so I'll use it. So I have this little sifter right here. It's a homemade sifter. Makes the sifting a lot easier for collecting the castings. And then something I've learned along the way is for good bedding, I use a paper shredder, and I have a ton. I used to have a ton, I've used it all. A bunch of sifted cardboard that I ran through the shredder. So this is the operation we've got going. So yeah, this is hot Texas, so I had to weatherize the garage. Worms do not like being in heat above 86 degrees. So this is all insulated. I have a air conditioning machine over here, which pipes outside. Then I insulated the roof, and they seem to be doing okay. It's not super hot yet, so we'll see. I think one of the biggest problems people have starting out, or even myself, I've done this for 6 years, I still have this problem, is overfeeding, because let's be frank, if you feed more, that's fewer times you have to feed them. So that's just being lazy. So if you're not lazy and you actually feed them less, it's healthier. The bins won't overheat, and the worms will just be happier. So yeah, do not overfeed. I try to only feed about their body weight in food once a week. When you do feed them, I found out it's best to feed them thawed food from the freezer because, like I said earlier, the food cell ruptures and bacteria will go into the food, and then the worms will actually eat that bacteria. So that's probably my best tip is freeze your food.
3.
Another great tip would be to use a food processor once you pull the food out of your freezer, or it could just be normal produce that you were given. It doesn't have to be thawed, but I have figured out thawed food just works so much better. So you put the food, the produce, into a food processor or a blender, and you make this kind of slushy or slurry, and that you can sprinkle on top of the worm bed and then cover it up with other compost, and that helps break down the food quicker because there's just more surface area. It kind of seeps into the compost, and the worms will once again throw another party in the slurry. I do that with banana peels a lot. I used to, back before COVID, used to work in the office, and I would offer bananas to my coworkers, and they would gladly take free bananas from me, and then they give me their banana peels. I'd come back from lunch, and there's randomly 2 banana peels just sitting on my desk, and I'm like, yes, banana peels. And then I freeze the banana peels, and then once they're thawed, I would throw them in the food blender, make this big slurry, and then throw it in the worm bins, cover it up because you don't want the gnats to get to them, the fruit flies, sorry. And then, like 3 or 4 days later, you can go uncover the compost, and there's just another worm party going on with the banana slurry. All right, some great food tips that I've learned is, root type foods like carrots, potatoes, those do not break down naturally. I mean, they're roots, so they're used to being in the soil and not breaking down. So what I do is I throw them in the oven, and that, if you cook them, that will break down the cells a lot quicker. So when you throw them into the worm bin, the worms will just have a party. They're like, oh man, give me more of those potatoes. And those things, you'll just find potato skins. You're like, where'd the potato go? It's gone. So another thing I found out is tea leaves. They love tea leaves. So I have a deal with a tea shop about 10 miles away, and they fill up a whole trash can of tea leaves about once a month. And I go over there and I tip them $20, which is pretty good deal because it's about 50 pounds of tea leaves. And then I sprinkle the tea leaves on top of the worm bins, and the worms will actually come up and eat the tea leaves. So that's a good food to put on top of the worm bin. Other food I suggest you mix into the bedding, the soil, because if you don't do that, then you'll get a bunch of fruit flies, and the fruit flies is probably the biggest annoyance in this hobby. They love that food, and they'll reproduce, and they'll fly around, they'll get into your house. So if you bury the food into the compost or the bedding, then the fruit flies can't get to it. They can't lay their eggs. An interesting thing is fruit flies will lay eggs in banana peels, and then they hatch, and then they fly out. They start all over again. So if you throw banana peels into the freezer, that kills the eggs. And it also helps the banana peels break down. Yeah. All right. Another thing I found on YouTube, which has worked out quite well, is this thing called worm chow. And the funny thing is, Purina, they used to make it. It's an actual chow just for worms. But sadly, for some reason, Purina stopped making worm chow. So I just make my own, and it's basically half oats and half yellow cornmeal that I run through a blender. So that's the base, but I also will pulverize eggshells with that blend. And the reason I do the eggshells is because it's calcium and it's gritty, and that grit will get into the stomach of the worms. So worms don't have teeth. They have nothing to chew on. So once the food goes into their belly, they need to have grit to go and pulverize so that it can keep on going through. So the worm chow is a great addition to sprinkle on top. I'll sprinkle it on top of the bin and come back, and literally the next 2 days it's gone. So they like the worm chow. Also, you'll be really surprised by how much other people will get involved if you just ask them for scraps, leftover food. Our neighbor will text us usually once a week and be like, "Hey, I just left a bunch of food on your front porch," which is great because I'm kind of getting tired of going out and searching for food to feed to my worms. So if it comes to you, it's great. The one thing you do want to tell them is please no citrus, no oily foods, no onions, and no meat and dairy. Those are just, worms don't like them. They can get them sick. It's no bueno. They love melons. As I showed earlier, you can put a melon, any kind of melon, watermelon, melon, just on top of the worm bin, and the worms will come up and just have a party. One thing to also think about is to remove seeds before you put any kind of like bell pepper or even tomatoes. Tomatoes are a little more tricky because it's harder to get the seeds out. The thing is, when you have seeds that go into the compost and then you use that compost into the garden, you're gonna get tomato plants just popping up randomly. And actually some of those tomato plants have produced some pretty good tomatoes. But if you don't want tomatoes and watermelon and, I mean, anything that you feed your worms, those seeds will just take off. The whole reason we're doing the composting is because the composting has crazy nutrients that make plants grow. And that's why I'm doing this. It's all about growing stuff. So those seeds get in there and it can be completely dark, no light, and they'll just sprout up. I saw them just earlier today. They were like this tall. I'm like, it's only been a week this tall from sprouting. So yeah, if you can remove seeds, it just makes your life easier. Yeah. So I stumbled across the Brute container, and the thing is perfect for worming because what it does is it stacks naturally by itself. So there's going to be this like 5 inches of space that the worms can live in, because when I first started this hobby, I used other crates that didn't have this stack capability, and you're supposed to put like a brick in there to keep the crates from squishing the worms. And these things are perfect because they're strong and they stack perfectly. So they're almost 20 bucks each. That's the downside. But if you buy them on Amazon on the warehouse deals, which I pretty much buy everything used on Amazon, they're about 16, 17 bucks. So it's a good deal. Are you recording?